Welcome to Helping You Thrive with Banterra Bank. I'm Jennifer Spence, Director of Marketing with Banterra, and I'm one of your co-hosts.
And I'm Ben Kraft, Commercial Officer at Banterra Bank and also a co-host. This is our second podcast of Helping You Thrive, something we launched as part of Banterra's 50th anniversary celebration, and we plan on providing a podcast each month.
Today we're going to be discussing college sports marketing in general, but in specific, we're going to talk about Banterra's naming rights agreement with Southern Illinois University in Carbondale, Illinois. And we're so excited we're actually able to film at least part of this right in Banterra Center. So we've got some practice that's going to start pretty soon, but right now we want to give you a glimpse of the stadium.
Yeah, beautiful facility. Obviously, we're proud to have our name as part of this place. There's so much history here. I've had so many good memories here, coming to games as a kid, bringing my kids to games now. It's just a great place, and also an opportunity to have the podcast here. But today we're going to welcome Jon Ihrig, General Manager with Saluki Sports Properties. Welcome, Jon.
Hello. Thank you for having me.
Thanks for joining us. And Jon, before we get too far into it, we go back a ways. Jon and I have known each other before my time at Banterra. Jon, I was wondering if you could just introduce yourself to the listeners and tell us about your background.
Yeah. So as you said, my name is Jon. I've been here with Saluki Sports Properties since October of 2013. A fun fact, my first official day was my birthday on October the 14th, so it's easy for me to remember my anniversary. Came here from being a property assistant at the University of Illinois in Champaign, and before that was born and raised in Orlando, Florida. Graduate of the University of Central Florida. When I moved here, to Ben's point, I didn't have a place to live. The place that I was subletting was still being used, and there was just a window of time where we needed to find a place for me to crash. And Ben at the time was the general manager of the reserve at Saluki Point, who was a partner of ours and someone that we had a great relationship with. And my predecessor, Josh, connected me with Ben, and Ben was kind enough to give me a little bit of a throwback to being a student, and I was able to stay at the reserve. I think I was there for almost a month, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, I think so. We found you a place to crash for a little while, and it worked out great, and we've known each other ever since, and been friends since then.
So Jon, you're with Saluki Sports Properties, which is a division of Learfield.
Yep.
You want to talk about Learfield in general for?
Yeah, so if anybody's listened to sports radio broadcasts for their favorite teams, whether it's Kentucky, Louisville, University of Illinois, Purdue, if you've listened to a radio broadcast, you've probably heard a call sign where it says, "You're listening to this broadcast from Learfield." Learfield is our parent company. We are a multimedia rights holder today for over 160 collegiate athletic departments in the country. But we started our roots in 1972, and we actually started as a farm radio broadcasting organization. And so, in fact, I actually was doing a little homework and found out that we're actually celebrating a 50th anniversary in 2025 as well.
Oh, cool.
In that, in 1975, we actually brokered our first multimedia rights agreement. It was a radio-only agreement at the time with the University of Missouri. So this coming summer, we will be celebrating 50 years of being in the true sports marketing industry, and Missouri actually has been a partner of ours ever since, and so they will be celebrating their 50th anniversary of representing the University of Mizzou this coming year.
So roots in agriculture, 50th anniversary. Sounds kind of familiar.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it does.
Yeah. Founded in Jefferson City, Missouri. To kind of cap it off, we started here in 2008 representing the University of SIU, and we've been here now ever since, going on year 18 will be in July.
So I started at Banterra in 2012, and I know that we had been a partner with SIU prior to that. I'm assuming that we started in 2008 with Learfield.
Yeah.
Do you know that? Yeah.
Yeah, actually.
We've been doing it a long time.
Yeah, since 2008, we have had 19 businesses that have been partners of ours since year one, Banterra being one of them.
Yeah. What are some of the others? Just curious why you mentioned that.
Southern Illinois Healthcare, Orthopedic Institute,
Yeah.
Kerner Distributor, the distributor of Molson Coors,
Yeah.
Kroger.
Yeah.
Kroger has been our grocery partner ever since. We have some great relationships with our union organizations, IBEW Local 702, IBEW NECA, which is a contractor electrical collaborative.
So you'll remember sort of this day. I remember the day that Jeff May came to me and said, okay, I want you to sit down. Here's what we're sort of thinking about doing. We've been a partner. We're at a certain level, not anywhere near our naming rights agreement. Mm-hmm. But he said they want Banterra to be the naming rights of what was called SIU Arena, which this facility is iconic, not just for the sports, but for concerts back in the day. You want to talk about that and how you guys approach that?
Yeah, we, one of the benefits to being as big of a company as Learfield is we don't have to invent the wheel very often. New ideas do come, new innovations come. But when I was at the University of Illinois, that first year, it was actually announced that the University of Illinois was going to be renaming what was then known iconically as Assembly Hall to the State Farm Center. And so this was the first time I'd ever been exposed to a naming rights announcement, but they're not uncommon. And a lot of times it takes three things. It takes a vision that everyone can trust and support. It takes a situation that can be mutually beneficial. Anytime you're naming a facility, it's not enough to just show value of having your name on a building. You've got to show more and deeper roots of the relationship and what it impacts and what it means to both the institution, the athletics department, and to the organization that's taking part. And then you got to have a willingness to be flexible, because in these types of really comprehensive and robust relationships, not every situation is going to turn out exactly as you scripted at the beginning. And so being able to adjust and find ways to continually improve and enhance the relationship during the term of the agreement, you always have to be able to make those adaptations and find ways to grow.
Absolutely. And aside from the naming of the facility, actually, there's other components to it. Specifically, there's the Banterra-SIU Visa debit card tied to scholarships and now also NIL. So maybe you can talk about that other piece of that?
Yeah, one of the things that I loved about the way this relationship started when you, Jennifer, and Jeff presented the idea, which is slightly uncommon. Normally it's the athletics department or property that's coming in to make the presentation, but when Jerry Kill at the time, came to Jeff with the idea of naming, it really kind of worked backwards, and it was awesome to see, because that means that you really believed in the idea. And the idea was that you were going to make this relationship as impactful in the community as possible. It wasn't just putting your name on there. So to support that naming rights agreement, we also discussed a licensed Saluki affinity card tied to a debit program with Banterra Bank. And that debit card was intended to support scholarships for students that were wanting to come to SIU that fit the geographic proximity of both the university prospect and Banterra Bank. And the thing that I really loved about this was that this was an investment that went above what we valued as the naming rights partnership. This was a commitment to Banterra to go above and beyond and provide scholarships to students in over 6 different major areas, 6 different regions, not just Southern Illinois, but Southern Indiana, Southeast Missouri,
throughout our
Western
footprint,
Kentucky.
no matter
And you were so wanting of this investment that you even provided a guarantee. It wasn't just about how many debit cards were out in the marketplace. You knew that there was an amount that you wanted to contribute to this, and you believed that at some point the debit cards would support it.
Yeah.
But you didn't want to wait. You wanted to make that investment right away.
We made that commitment, and it was built our revenue to where actually we weren't taking a loss on that, but that's how committed we were to do that. And I think it's interesting too that when NIL started, which is just this year for us and for you guys, really, you guys needed some help. And so I think we creatively, worked together on, okay, how can the debit card support some of that? And how can we, support that in general? So do you want to talk about any of that?
Yeah, they're obviously, NIL has become a household name in the sports world. Any sports fan has probably heard the word. And quite honestly, we've kind of seen it become a catchphrase, because the idea of NIL was really about athletes using their personal brand to be able to endorse and promote products, services, and organizations. So when we identified that need within Saluki Athletics, we wanted to look at the structure of a relationship as it was, and like I said before, being flexible, find a way to enhance the program so that we continue to meet the values of the relationship, but also grow in the way to be visible for Banterra while also supporting athletics needs to find avenues for compensating athletes. And so, with the debit card, we pivoted, and while still providing that guaranteed scholarship, which again I think is incredible, there's an excess flow of fund opportunity that Banterra provides, and that excess over $50,000 is now contributed into what we call an NIL, or athlete influencer fund.
Well, that speaks to, you mentioned flexibility before. It's not always, in any partnership, it's not always what you script at the beginning. You have to be willing and able to evolve and adapt to the changes along the way. And I don't know that any of us necessarily had NIL in mind when the partnership started, but it's good that we've been able to work together to capitalize on that. And again, I like the when you mentioned partnership, that's how we view things with our customers too. It's not transactional. It's not just, one for one and that's it. It's, we see it as a partnership where it can be mutually beneficial to both us and Saluki Athletics, and it's worked out great so far.
That's a great segue into something I wanted to mention, is that from a marketing perspective, it was all new to us too. And, I knew that we could use them for TV and social media, whatever, but I didn't even really know these kids, and I can probably call them kids. And we started that off with a dinner with our president and CEO and chief banking officer and other chief risk, upper management right here in the Cook Club. And we had 4 NIL athletes. Mm-hmm. And it was such a great way to get to know. We asked them just their goals and their majors and those kind of things, but just what they enjoyed. And Kennard mentioned how he loves to go bowling. So when we did that TV spot, we did it in the student center. Janiyah, who is from Southern Illinois and went away and then came back, she was just like, I really missed the hiking in the parks of Southern Illinois. So, we filmed her TV spot at Giant City Park. So I think this might be a good opportunity right now, actually, for our YouTube viewers to show one of those spots and give you an example.
One of the things that I love about Southern Illinois is outdoor activities, but it was the indoor activities that brought me back home, playing basketball for the SIU Salukis at Banterra Center. With Banterra Bank on your home court, I've learned what a true partner they are to their customers and communities. Plus, they offer a Saluki Visa debit card that supports SIU scholarships and athletics. I'm Janiyah Thompson. That was the easy one for me. Banterra Bank, official partner of Saluki Athletics, member FDIC.
I'm excited to represent Southern Illinois when playing basketball for SIU, and it's important to me to give back to this region. That's important to Banterra Bank also, and it's one of the reasons that I'm proud to be a customer. They support their communities, and with their mobile app, I can check my accounts, make payments, and more, all on my time. Plus, they offer a Saluki Visa debit card that supports SIU scholarships and athletics.
That was an easy win for me.
Banterra Bank, official partner of Saluki Athletics.
Speaking of flexibility and adaptability, the women's basketball team is getting ready to come in and use their facility for practice. So we're probably going to move to a different location, but more content to come.
So let's dive into this NIL just a little bit further too, because I think it's interesting. If anybody's listening that are marketers or want to know how to market their business and how to use NIL, I'm not saying this is the way to do it, but this is what we learned this year and those kind of things. So we started off with that dinner, got to know them. We didn't really hire an ad agency. We just came up with a document of, John, this is sort of what we would like these athletes to do. We'd like to do some TV, video, knowing that video is important content for social media, because really with NIL, that's really where it's at. And then we also had some things that, in addition to how we were going to market it, we wanted these athletes to do for us. So we had social media ideas. And I think that is really key to some of this, because we can say all day long, that the debit card is where you need to be, the Saluki debit card with Banterra. But if you have an athlete that not only in the TV spot is saying, holding it up and saying that's an easy win for me, and then they're promoted it on their social media page, you want to talk about any of that, or even some other examples of other NIL?
Yeah, I think with when you talk about businesses that are engaging with student athletes, I think it's important to recognize that the idea of of NIL is very similar, and it's intended to be a lot like influencer marketing. And so we actually use the term student athlete influencers now, because the reality is that you're choosing an individual to be an ambassador of not just your brand, but your product and service. And so that individual needs to have the type of personality that represents not just your brand, but also your customers. And so when we selected the athletes that became the Banterra brand ambassadors, it wasn't just about who was the best and who was the most popular. There is value to their social channels and being able to extend the marketing into their networks, but it was also about who the right personalities were, so that when they were promoting your product and promoting the debit card, there was an authenticity to it. It was genuine. You can tell that they were individuals that, when they were talking about the area of Southern Illinois that was highlighted, like you mentioned, Kennard Davis loving bowling and Janiyah enjoying hiking. We identified that through the dinner and who their personalities were and what types of hobbies and interests and passions they had. We knew their character was strong because they're Salukis. We wouldn't recruit players that didn't have high character.
Yeah, I think about Damien, who mentioned that he really loves community service, and we took him to Heron Elementary School to do part of that scene, and he was so good with the kids, and it was just that I was just proud to have these athletes as ambassadors. But I do think it's important. It's a balance. I mean, it's not just the best athletes or anything like that too, but it's also their social challenge. I mean, if you're an athlete hoping that you're going to get some NIL in the future, whatever, I would advise you to build your social media channel. I mean, it's important. It's an asset.
The athletes that are seeing long-term benefit from this new NIL era are the ones that are building their social media influence. They're taking their personal brand and they are utilizing their platforms to gain followers. And brands, that's what they want. That's what you want. That's what any company is looking for. They're looking for an outlet to be able to promote their product and services to as many people as possible, and the more intimate that connection is, the more likely that endorsement is going to hold. And so when it comes to student athletes and doing partnerships that involve ambassadors, we've noticed through our national research studies that the marketing of the message is so much more impactful when the athlete is aligned with the brand that ultimately the business is aligned with. And so this was a natural extension of the brand relationship that Banterra has with Saluki Athletics. The athlete deepened those roots with Banterra and Saluki Athletics, and that now it's not just the Salukis that are, identifying Banterra, but now it's our athletes that are identifying them too.
So, John, I want to back up just a little bit, and I want to see if you can share a little bit more about what Learfield actually does, because people might not necessarily know all the different things you do. It could be facilitating NIL partnerships. It could be naming rights deals like we've talked about, game production, signage, but can you just elaborate a little more about all the different things that you do?
Yeah, so in my department, and what I always attribute it to is, all of these, every business has marketing strategies that align with a media outlet. It may be that you are in the newspaper, or that you're doing radio or television, digital marketing, social media content.
All the above.
All the above. We provide all of those here. But everything that we do is aligned with the platforms, the events, and the Saluki brand. And so when we come up with a strategy, we're identifying goals and objectives of a business no different than any other, media solution provider. But we bring a dedicated and passionate fan base to the business that ultimately is going to recognize the relationships that we have. And our statistics show that they're going to think more favorably about a business that is aligned with their favorite team. From a Learfield standpoint, we actually are more of a solutions provider to athletics. My job is to be a supporter of both athletics and to the corporate partners. But Learfield's solutions are more focused towards how we can help athletic departments. And so along with my department, our multimedia department, we provide ticket office solutions, both through point of sale and operational strategy. We are the licensing arm for the majority of Division I collegiate athletics across the country. We ultimately do provide content solutions. We we are now engaged in the world of name, image, and likeness and athlete influencers. We help with fundraising. And then also the majority of the websites, if you scroll down to the bottom, you'll see that the website was produced by a company called Sidearm, which is a subsidiary of Learfield.
Yeah, it's a lot. I want to speak to something on that too, is that there's so many media options now when you're doing marketing. I mean, it used to be that pie had some bigger slices. Now it's just overwhelming. And, there's live streaming. If everybody watching the commercials not really sure, they're fast forwarding through and all those kind of things. And so I think for Banterra and any company, we're in 6 states, but we have 25 branches in Southern Illinois. We have our headquarters and our administrative offices in Southern Illinois. This is where we're very proudly based. And we wanted our stamp on SIU in this facility because it supports Salukis, and not only that, I mean, there's a lot of Saluki fans, but it supports Southern Illinois. It's one of the largest employers, So I think, when you're trying to figure out your marketing plan in all those different areas, I think there's so many elements of not just brand awareness, but PR that comes with that when you support your local teams.
Yeah, we say that Southern Illinois is Saluki country, and that's because we've identified that our fan base isn't just Carbondale. It's not just the 10-mile radius around Carbondale. We have fans, alums, season ticket holders that are all throughout the Southern Illinois region. We even have fans in St. Louis. We have fans in SEMO. Or in SEMO country, I should say, Cape Girardeau. We have fans down in Paducah. We have tons of fans in Chicago.
Right.
Our partners, we have over 89 corporate partners currently, and those are comprised of local businesses, small businesses like, Quattros and the Pags of Carbondale, but then we also have a variety of regional businesses like SIH and Banterra, Kroger, and we have national brands too, because our fan base isn't just here. Our fan base is local, it's regional, and it's national.
Ben, you've mentioned that before of running into people nationwide.
Yeah, it's amazing how you go on vacation somewhere. It could be the Gulf Coast, it could be Chicago, it could be California, anywhere, or even internationally sometimes, and you might see someone wearing an SIU hat, and like, oh, hey, and you're right. Our SIU's reach is far beyond just general area right here.
It's really crazy. Quick story on that note. I had my first international trip a couple years ago to Italy. And I was in Florence with my dad, and on a Friday night, we wanted to find somewhere downtown to go out and have a couple drinks. And we just looked up bars, places nearby, and we walked into a bar not knowing what to expect. It turned out to be a Chicago-themed bar in Florence, Italy, where they had the Cubs on TV and we had, modern American music. And it turned out that the owner of that bar, who was bartending, his parents were SIU grads.
How about that?
You never know.
That's amazing. It's amazing. It's crazy. And you hear stories like that all the time. It's great. John, I was wondering if you could speak, maybe share a success story or two regarding a company supporting Saluki Sports Properties.
Oh my gosh, yeah. With the Banterra being an obvious example of a relationship that has grown together over the course of the 17, 18 years that we've been here. Some of the big ones that come to mind that are probably very familiar would be our partnership with the SIH Foundation and the Blackout Cancer Games. The Blackout Cancer Games really started with Mike McElroy and his passion for supporting cancer patients and cancer awareness. But then it was really, launched in the region along with Coach Jerry Kill and SIH with the goal of establishing the only comprehensive cancer center that is available in Southern Illinois. And so we, through auctioning of our football jerseys, our basketball jerseys, men's and women, we at one point did, volleyball jerseys as well. The proceeds of those fundraisers all went to supporting that capital project of building that cancer center.
Yeah, that's a wonderful facility too.
Yeah, and once it was completed, we, instead of it just going into some sort of operating budget, we pivoted. And now the proceeds of those campaigns go to support cancer patients all throughout Southern Illinois in the southern 16 counties. That is the epitome of a cause that is supported through a brand alignment and collaboration with two great organizations.
Yeah.
And talking about being flexible, again, another example of pivoting and changing the strategy with it and supporting a great cause. That's one of those feel-good type relationships there. And the Blackout Cancer Games, can you explain to those who might not know how that process works?
Yeah, so we identify one football game, one men's basketball game, and one women's basketball game every year as our blackout game. And leading up to that game, there is a website that auctions the jerseys that are going to be worn by the players during that game. And what fans are bidding for is the opportunity to put the name of a loved one on the back of that jersey that will be worn for that game. And as they bid, if they give the highest bid, they get the first option of what jersey they want to select, and then they get to put a name on the back of there. That game, those jerseys are worn.
And maybe it's a favorite player of theirs.
Yeah,
maybe it's a number that they wore playing themselves.
The whys of it are always different. Some of them, they just want to have the favorite player. Some of them are family members that want to have their child. Some of them, it's just because, like Dr. Dan Massey here at Massey Dental bid on one, and he chose one of our players on the team whose last name was Massey.
Perfect.
And that was why we wanted to do it. So yeah, it's been a great initiative that has really supported. We're going on 10 plus years of having that campaign together, and it continues to be successful.
That's great.
So hopefully our listeners have gotten a lot of, general ideas on sports branding and NIL and our partnership. And so are there anything that we've covered a lot of ground, and we only have so long for this podcast, right?
Sure.
But are there any elements that we probably forgot to cover that you want to mention before we ask you some fun questions?
I think aside from just saying thank you for the partnership that we've had, I would just say thanks to all the businesses that have entrusted us in being a part of their marketing goals, because that's all we want to do is we want to use our resources and our fan base to accomplish business goals. And we know we're not a perfect fit for everybody. We know that sometimes goals are big and small, and we may not have the right fit. But any opportunity we have to do something creative and bring something exciting and something memorable to our fans, and in partnership with a business, those are so much fun and so beneficial to everybody, and it's my favorite part of the job.
All right, John, you ready to have some fun?
Let's do it.
Okay.
Not that this has not been fun.
Oh, this has been fun.
Yeah.
This has been fun, but we're gonna get to know John on a little bit more of a personal level now. Like John mentioned, the two of us go back a ways, so I know a few things about John. For those of you who might not know, John is an excellent bowler. He's really good. He will beat you. He will take all your money if you get into a match against him. How many 300 games have you bowled, John?
Oh my gosh, I don't know, and that sounds braggy.
You lost count?
That sounds braggy, but a handful. I've been waiting for Kennard actually mentioning he loved bowling. Now that the season's over, I'm waiting for the one-on-one with him just to see what his skill set is.
Who wins a match between you and Kennard?
I would say that if we were to do a battle of skills, he would absolutely destroy me on the court. But I don't know. Maybe he could hold his own.
He has a disadvantage because his hands are so big he can't even put his hands in the thing. So you might have,
Whatever excuse you can come up with. Yeah.
Basketball players have been notoriously good bowlers. When I was living down in Orlando managing bowling centers, Dwight Howard used to be a figure that would come through my bowling center. Vince Carter, when he played for the Magic, was a league bowler.
Wow.
So it's not uncommon for athletes, professional athletes, to be good at bowling. Mookie Betts in baseball is a professional bowler. He goes and competes in the PBA every year.
Interesting. I imagine Dwight Howard probably holds a bowling ball about like a baseball.
Yeah, I don't think I had a pair of bowling shoes that could fit him. That didn't work out.
Who is your favorite Pittsburgh Steeler of all time? I know you're a big Steelers fan.
Man, growing up, Cordell Stewart was obviously a really well-known and versatile player. Hines Ward was the epitome of the Steelers character. He was the hard-hitting receiver that was always smiling. And so I loved watching him play. Jerome Bettis, the bus. I mean, I became a Steelers fan out of loss because my earliest memory was when we lost to the Cowboys. And so as a result, in the Super Bowl, I hate the Cowboys. And I love the Steelers. And it'll always be that way.
There you go. You never know how you're going to come up with your favorite team when you're a kid and what's going to stick. All right. So, John, something we ask of our guests is, and again, in an effort to get to know you a little more, what are you into? And that could mean it could be a book, it could be a podcast, it could be a movie, music, a concert you went to. What are you into right now?
Oh, my gosh. what I'm into right now is having downtime with my son whenever I can. Now that basketball season's over, it allows for a little bit more free time. Still go to baseball and softball games and cheer them on, but just not as much after hours work that is scheduled. My son and I we love video games, and it's been great now that he's 10 years old. He's really starting to find interest in a lot of the things that I did as a kid. Whether that's because of me or not, I don't know. But he is a huge fan of Pokemon. And I was a big fan of Pokemon growing up. For his birthday a couple of years ago, he got a bunch of Pokemon cards. And I never played the game as a kid, but once he got all these Pokemon cards, I was like, let's learn how to play this together. And so we went down a rabbit hole, and we found a local place, A to Z in Carbondale. Now they're located in Murfreesboro, where we really became, students of learning how to play this game. And my competitive spirit came out, and I got super competitive with it. And last summer, it was awesome. Last summer, I went out to Indianapolis and actually competed in a regional Pokemon card tournament.
So there you have it.
Yeah.
Bowling, Pittsburgh Steelers, and Pokemon.
Oh, yeah.
So,
Shout out to Dexter, by the way.
Yeah. Those are great answers. We really appreciate all of our listeners today. And I do want to mention, too, that if you want to see any of those NIL TV spots that we did, they'll be on our YouTube channel.
Absolutely. And John, thanks for joining us today. It's been a
so much
pleasure.
for having me.
Always good talking to you. Don't forget to subscribe to Helping You Thrive on your favorite podcast platform, or watch the video on Banterra's YouTube channel. Also, please tell others about our podcast by sharing on your social media or leaving us a review. Follow Banterra Bank's social media for various insights, including 50th anniversary promotions and this podcast. Today, our podcast was recorded at the Banterra Center at Southern Illinois University, Carbondale, and produced by Union Street Arts and Banterra's marketing department. You can find more information on Banterra at our website, banterra.bank. Thanks for joining us today. Banterra Bank, member FDIC.
Go Dogs.
Go Dogs.
Go Dogs.